Welcome to the Awesome Pod Mix. You are listening to Abby. The idea behind this podcast was to talk about how certain movies and TV shows made me feel when I watched them for the very first time. A reputed filmmaker once said, "When a piece of art invokes a similar feeling amidst a large audience, it's the triumph of the filmmaker." That's the magic of cinema. I love the magic of cinema. Today I'll be talking about Marvel Studios' Loki Season 2 Episode 3. Whether Marvel creates movies or TV shows, they are all cinematic. This episode's title is 1893, written by Eric Martin, Kasra Farahani, and Jason O'Leary. The episode is directed by Kasra Farahani. It's the sixth series with a Kevin Feige production credit after Hawkeye, Moon Knight, Ms. Marvel, She-Hulk Attorney at Law, and Secret Invasion. Marvel Studios' title sequence begins with a piano rendition and I love it. The episode begins in Chicago, Illinois in the year 1868 on the sacred timeline. Renslayer walks out of a time door and steps into some sticky mud. Probably this is where she came after Loki Season 1 finale. Renslayer is not amused by the place. She's like, where is she? Who's she looking for, Miss Minutes? Oh! Miss Minutes is hiding in the barn. Miss Minutes is also upset that Renslayer is late. She checks with Renslayer if she's got the package. Miss Minutes asks Renslayer to put the package inside the window of one of the houses. She also reveals that the man at the end of time is dead and putting the package in this windowsill was his plan. When Renslayer points out that they don't blend in during this time, Miss Minutes changes her colorful appearance to black and white. Sweetheart, you're an AI hologram projection. You're never gonna blend in black and white or color. Renslayer questions how following He Who Remains his plan is gonna benefit her. Miss Minutes assures that once this man is atop the TVA, both of them will be by his side. Renslayer drops the package inside the window. A young boy making candles is distracted by the sound of something dropping. He moves toward the window, picks up the package and opens it. What's inside the package? TVA handbook? Are you kidding me? Loki title sequence begins. Inside the TVA, woman on PA says, "Loom status elevated." Everyone at the TVA reacts worried. All of them are trying to figure how to resolve the issue at hand. Obi re-explains everything in excruciating detail. His reaction is like, wait a second, simpler. Mobius wonders if they could hack into the system. Obi is like, really? Oh, that's such a relief. Loki jumps to Mobius's defense saying he was just suggesting it as an idea. Casey's idea is to get Miss Minutes back, but Mobius shuts down that idea saying she's AWOL, absent without leave. My question is, why aren't you following Renslayer's lead? Isn't that where you left off in the last episode? Casey reminds them that Miss Minutes sent Renslayer information. Loki arrives at the conclusion that if they find Renslayer, they'll find Miss Minutes. Even though the beginning of the Breaking Brad episode was really abrupt, here they had the option of following it up from the end of previous episode, but they didn't. We didn't need so much prelude about the loom being critical. It's been critical for some time now. One shot with the text on the computer would have been sufficient. We already know they need the temporal aura of the person who designed the place. Move it along. Mobius thinks it would be an awkward reunion with the woman who tried to kill both of them being Mobius and Loki. Loki brushes it off, saying it would be out of her system. They need to focus on Miss Minutes. They have information that Renslayer came to the same spot in 1868 and 1893. 1893 is also the title of the episode. Just when Loki and Mobius arrive, they turn a corner and stand before the same window. Loki questions, "Any major figures arising from here?" "Yeah, Jonathan Majors arising from right behind you, sweetheart." Mobius mentions the Chicago fire, which was 1871. They walk ahead and open a time door for 1893. The text reads, "Chicago, Illinois, 1893 branch timeline." So handing over a TVA handbook was supposedly a Nexus event, hence the branch timeline. He Who Remains was counting on the fact that the TVA wouldn't prune this timeline. Mobius exclaims, "How could I forget? Chicago's World Fair 1893, the White City, Edison, H.H. Holmes, hot air balloons." Loki points out that Renslayer went to 1868 and then 25 years ahead. So say Victor Timely was around 8 or 10 during 1868. So now he would be in his early 30s. Mobius suggests they need to find some clues, some breadcrumbs. They hear a newspaper boy talking about some ghost clock. The sketch in the newspaper looks an awful lot like Miss Minutes. Loki and Mobius begin their search. The camera closes its iris like an old-timey movie fading to black in a circle. Mobius is more interested in gallivanting and trying snacks at the Cracker Jack concession stand. In the fair, Loki and Mobius reach a place where there are 3 Asgardian statues, Odin in the middle, Thor on the right, and Balder the Brave on the left. Of course, Loki doesn't like it. According to him, it's a crass generalization and such poverty of imagination. Frigga's sad music piece plays when Mobius leaves Loki with the statues. All he ever wanted was to be their equal. Loki says, Thor's not that tall. Oh, honey, are you feeling left out? Loki walks up to Mobius, who's figuring where they should go next. Loki spots the board. It reads Ferdinand Lang. It could be a reference to Scott Lang's family. Ferdinand is also a Disney movie that released in 2017. The other text reads Victor Timely's Astounding Temporal Marvellous. The word temporal stands out. Loki thinks that's where they'll find Renslayer. The band is playing their gig. I was told the woman in the center is Natalie Holt. Natalie Holt composes music for Loki. Renslayer is present at the gig and she's hiding Miss Minutes in her bag. Mobius reminisces that Renslayer likes a good drink and so does he. Mobius, are you in love with Renslayer? Mobius spots Renslayer in the crowd and is about to move in her direction when Loki stops him saying, Don't let her see you. Now we see the post-credit scene of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Mobius recognizes the design of the loom. Victor Timely says, Time is everything. It moves through each and every one of us. Like Smart Hulk pushed time through Scott Lang in Avengers Endgame, Victor Timely continues, It shapes our lives, our futures, but perhaps we can shape it. Loki says, It's him. Mobius asks, Who? Loki responds, He who remains. Mobius says, You made him sound like he's a terrifying figure. Loki says, He is. Victor Timely holds a lantern resembling the one in He Who Remains' claymation. In the claymation, the variant was holding the lantern when he encountered the creature called Alioth. Then He Who Remains weaponized Alioth. I wonder how that happened. Victor Timely continues, Time is the future of energy. Mobius is still not convinced that Victor Timely is about to control all of time. The moment Victor Timely mentions that his design is the temporal loom, Loki gives Mobius a I told you so look. Victor Timely explains how his loom inverts the temporal decay of electricity and refines it into fine threads of power. Is that how He Who Remains powered the TVA? When the loom overloaded, all the lights in the TVA started to glitch. Mobius wants to bring Victor Timely to the TVA. Loki cautions Mobius that they can't trust a variant of He Who Remains, and I agree with him. Mobius is focusing on the now problem. They need Victor Timely's temporal aura. My argument is, if the TVA is destroyed, neither Miss Minutes nor Renslayer would be able to rule over it. So ideally, they should help Loki and Mobius. But can we trust a rogue AI like Miss Minutes? Victor Timely pretends that many buyers are interested in his prototype. Robber Baron wants to be Victor's partner. Victor Timely doesn't do partnerships. Robber Baron offers $1,000. Renslayer too has her doubts about Victor Timely. Miss Minutes assures her that this is He Who Remains' plan. Outside, when everyone tries to get Victor Timely to their side, we realize Timely is a con man. He cannot be trusted with anything. Victor Timely runs and hides behind an Egyptian exhibit. He spots the Ferris wheel and runs toward it. Timely lures Robber Baron into the carriage and sneaks out before the doors close. Hunter B-15 calls Mobius with a development. Mobius doesn't listen and tells them about the He Who Remains' variant. Casey has spotted a weird tempad reading. Can Casey track He Who Remains' tempad? Loki catches up to Victor timely. Sylvie appears right behind him. All of them get inside the Ferris wheel carriage. Sylvie is hell-bent on killing the variant just like she said she would. It also parallels with what happened in season 1 finale. Loki explains himself. It's not that he only cares about the TVA. If the loom fails and the TVA is destroyed, then everything else will be destroyed as well. To my surprise, when Mobius presents his case to Renslayer, she refuses to help. Sylvie is upset because the TVA handed over the TVA handbook to the variant and created a branch timeline. According to Sylvie, Loki is not trying to save the TVA or fix it. It was Renslayer who set the variant on a path he wasn't meant for. Now Loki and Mobius are waltzing him right back into the TVA. These are completely logical arguments. Loki reveals that he's never met the man before and they need him to save everyone. Sylvie can't let Victor timely live. As soon as the carriage doors open, Sylvie's magic blasts off Loki and Victor timely. Renslayer tends to Victor timely. Mobius tends to Loki. Renslayer unleashes Miss Minutes on the crowd. Renslayer and Timely use this to their advantage and escape. Mobius comes with a tandem bike for Loki and him to chase them. Loki is reluctant and says absolutely not. Back at his house, Victor timely shows off his inventions to Renslayer. Miss Minutes fishes for compliments for her ghostly act. Victor timely calls it marvelous. Victor timely mistakes Miss Minutes to be Renslayer's helper. Miss Minutes introduces herself as a fully conscious and sentient artificial intelligence entity, and her name is Miss Minutes. I guess when Victor timely says you're absolutely singular, he means you're one of a kind. She returns the compliment saying you're pretty singular yourself, or at least you will be. Now Victor timely is curious and wants to know what's going on. Renslayer narrates the story. He created the TVA. 2 Norse gods murdered him and countless versions of him were rebirthed. Victor feels it's a story of him that he always imagined. Renslayer tells Timely that he needs her by his side because she can keep him safe. Miss Minutes scoffs. Miss Minutes has her own story about before the TVA and how she and him worked together at the end of time. Renslayer reveals she's just looking to restore the stability to the TVA. The loom is in trouble and they need him. Timely reveals that the wizard gentleman told him the same thing. Timely wonders, why aren't you in cahoots with him and his butler? Renslayer reveals that Loki was an accomplice in his murder. Timely doesn't want to go anywhere but to his workshop to collect his latest prototype. Mobius and Loki arrive on their tandem bike. Victor Timely runs out of the window with Renslayer and Miss Minutes and hides. Later they board a ship named SS Heron to Wisconsin. In the comics, Victor Timely was from Wisconsin. SS Heron is a reference to Kate Herron, the director of Loki Season 1. Renslayer inquires about Victor Timely's life's work. Victor Timely says it's the key to understanding and manipulating time. He thanks the divine hand that gave him the TVA handbook. It dawns upon Victor Timely that it was Ravonna Renslayer who gave him the book. Miss Minutes dismisses it. She says Renslayer was just a postman. Victor Timely thanks her. The book defined the course of his life and it was a correspondence between him and Ouroboros. So Victor Timely's life's work is a thought-put multiplier. Sounds like the engine core of his time chair. You know, that created the probability storm. Thought-put multiplier probability storm sounds about the same. Victor thinks it'll help them with the time loom. How? Victor Timely gives Renslayer an origami flower. Now all of Renslayer's doubts have cleared. Renslayer is hopeful about their partnership. Victor Timely withdraws his hand. He is not the kinds to do partnerships. Victor Timely and Miss Minutes drop a sleepy Renslayer along with the lifeboat into the sea. Renslayer rescues herself using the lifeboat. Victor Timely arrives at his workshop. He has Renslayer's bag containing the tempad. He taps the tempad and Miss Minutes appears. Miss Minutes feels that Victor is so much like He Who Remains. Victor collects some papers and stops when he spots the thought-put multiplier. It doesn't look like his time chair but just parts in a clock functioning together. I'm saying that because there was no seating area. Also, it was in soft focus. Care to show it in a close-up, please? Now Victor Timely wants to go to the TVA, but Miss Minutes asks, "What's the rush? We need to lay low." "Why? It's the TVA. Why are you causing a delay, Miss Minutes?" Miss Minutes was worried that Victor won't come with her. She thought he liked Ravonna more than her. Miss Minutes blushes and retains her original color. She checks if there's a sketch of hers in his journal. Victor says there will be now. Initially, Miss Minutes was just a simple AI to play chess with. He saw her potential and gave her autonomy to write her own programming. Victor sees Miss Minutes as a loyal friend. Oh damn, you're friend-zoning her? Miss Minutes sees them as more than friends. She questions him, "Why didn't you allow me a real body?" Now Victor Timely is like, "That wasn't me." If she had a body, they could have truly led together. Well, he doesn't do partnerships. Miss Minutes wanted to be his girl. Victor reaches for the temp pad. Miss Minutes rushes to stop him, saying, "What are you doing? Put that down. Don't do this. We are a team. You need me. I love you." Miss Minutes disappears. "Oh, honey, sweetie baby." Ravonna Renslayer appears and comments, "Lover stiff?" Renslayer switches on a prune stick prototype. Now why would you want to make a pruning stick prototype, Victor? Renslayer snatches her tempad back. She makes it abundantly clear that he who remains put her in charge. Loki and Mobius arrive at the workshop and tell Renslayer to step away from Timely. Mobius pleads to Vaughn's good side. Vaughn, really? Is it Ravonna? Or Victor Von Doom? Oh my god, Victor Timely, Vaughn. Victor Von Doom. One could argue Miss Minutes' doomsday clock. This is purely a coincidence. I did not think of it until this very second. Back to what Mobius was saying. Mobius tells Vaughn that she has lost her way. Vaughn doesn't want a lecture from Mobius. Only she can restore the stability of the TVA. She is order. Sylvie blasts Renslayer and everyone else off with her magic. She should have said, "And I am chaos," just like, "And I am Iron Man." Sylvie removes her sword to kill Victor Timely. He begs for his life. Earlier, why didn't he beg Ravonna for his life? Is he aware about Eliath? Does he know he can make his way to the end of time from the void? I didn't buy Victor begging for his life. It was not at all convincing. Victor Timely says, "I haven't done anything." You're a con man, dude. I can make my own choices. Your acting choice over here is subpar at best. My screenwriting brain was like, Sylvie has grown since she killed He Who Remains. She wanted variants like her to be able to live their lives and not be punished for others' actions. Sylvie tells Mobius and Loki to get Victor Timely out of there. Mobius opens a time door to the TVA. Sylvie tells Loki, "Don't make me regret this." She points at Renslayer saying, "Leave her to me." Mobius contemplates for a second or two and then follows Loki through the time door. Renslayer is still cocky in front of Sylvie. Sylvie hits Renslayer with the butt of her sword. Renslayer behaves like she's ready to die, but I don't buy it. Of course, Sylvie has brutally killed Renslayer multiple times in her mind, and she's not going to give her the satisfaction. Sylvie says, "You wanted a seat at the end of time. Be careful what you wish for." Sylvie opens a time door and kicks Ravonna through it. At the end of time, the citadel is crumbling and He Who Remains' corpse is decaying. Renslayer uses the temp pad to get Miss Minutes out. Miss Minutes comes out saying, "Love you," which she was saying to Victor Timely before. Renslayer comments, "I had him under control until you sabotaged me and made fools of us." Miss Minutes deflects. "Well, it was foolish of him to make an enemy out of someone who knows all of his secrets. I know a really big one about you. I can tell you, but..." Renslayer asks, "But what?" Miss Minutes responds, It's gonna make you real angry. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Here there are two. So what could be the secret? Well, there is a recording where he who remains says, Renslayer, you're quite a marvel. I'll be proud to lead with you. You made a difference in this war. Thank you for being on my team. During Season 1 flashback, we saw that Ravonna Renslayer was Hunter A23. Later, she became a judge. He must have wiped her memory before she became Hunter A23. On the sacred timeline in 2018 Fremont, Ohio, she was Rebecca Tormonet and principal of Franklin D. Roosevelt High School. Apart from these two things, what else could be the secret? The pace of this episode did not work for me. It could have been crisp and shorter. I think a lot of time was wasted when Mobius was gallivanting. They took a long time to get to the point. If it were entertaining, I wouldn't have had a problem. Next week's episode will primarily be a flashback episode. Maybe we'll get to know the origin stories of all the variants in the TVA. I guess the conflict from this episode will resume in episode 5. Until then, you can listen to the awesome pod mix and subscribe to it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, and Good Pods. If you like what I'm doing, you can support me on Patreon at patreon.com/awesomepodmix. Thanks for listening.